Ilara had never seen a station like this before. It hung in space like a jewel, massive and shining, its surface crisscrossed with lights and energy lines that pulsed like the heartbeat of a living being. From a distance, it looked peaceful, almost inviting. But anyone who knew the station's reputation understood that beneath the shimmering exterior was a fortress of vigilance. Every corner was watched, every entrance monitored, every visitor scrutinized. She adjusted the strap of her small backpack and stepped carefully onto the docking platform. The hum of engines and the rhythmic clank of maintenance bots filled the air. She could see alien merchants moving with precision, their limbs moving in ways that would have seemed impossible on Earth. They were tall and slender, their skin shimmering with subtle hues, eyes far larger than a human's, reflecting a constant alertness. They glanced at her curiously but continued with their work, giving her only the briefest scrutiny. Ilara's heart beat faster, not with fear, but with the thrill of challenge. She had been trained for situations like this. Every movement, every gesture had been drilled into her during her years of preparation on Earth. But the station was unlike anything she had ever faced before, and she knew she had to stay alert. One small mistake could change everything. As she made her way through the main corridor, she kept her bag close. It seemed ordinary, nothing remarkable to the casual eye, but inside it was something forbidden, something that could change the way these aliens thought about humans. She felt a small thrill at the thought. They had no idea who she was or what she carried. A group of alien guards appeared ahead. They moved with sharp precision, walking in a formation that left no gap unobserved. Ilara slowed her pace slightly, keeping her head down, pretending to be just another traveler. But she knew it wouldn't be long before they noticed her. Sure enough, one of the taller guards stopped and looked directly at her. His large, reflective eyes scanned her body, then her bag. He motioned to his companions, and in a few moments she was surrounded. "You there," he said in a voice that resonated like low metal, smooth yet commanding. "Step aside. We will need to examine your belongings." Ilara nodded, her expression calm. She had anticipated this. "Of course," she said softly. She handed over the bag without hesitation. Her mind racing through the possible outcomes. The guard opened the bag slowly, deliberately, as if every second would allow him to understand something critical. He sifted through the items, a few personal effects, some rations, a notebook. Nothing alarming. His antennae twitched slightly. Then his sensors blinked. A sharp sound rang through the scanning devices. The aliens froze. The uniform inside the bag was not just any piece of clothing. It was a human military uniform, carefully folded, pristine, marked with insignia that no one in this sector had seen before. The tall guard's eyes widened, a reaction that was rare for his species. His companions leaned closer, their own devices scanning the fabric, analyzing every thread. "This cannot be," one of them said, his voice trembling slightly. Ilara kept her face neutral, hiding the small smile that threatened to show. She had anticipated this reaction. The uniform was a message, a symbol of her people, a proof that humans were present and capable. And now she had their full attention. The guard who had found the uniform looked directly at her. "Explain this," he demanded. Ilara's calm demeanor did not falter. "It is mine," she said simply. "I am authorized to carry it." The aliens exchanged uncertain glances. They were not accustomed to humans, and certainly not to a human who could move through their station with confidence and calm under scrutiny. They did not yet understand that humans had a peculiar combination of courage, adaptability, and cleverness that made them unpredictable. "You are far from your home planet," the tall guard said. "Why are you here?" "I am here on a mission," Ilara replied evenly. "It is neither hostile nor secretive. I am here to observe and to represent my people." The guard's antennae twitched again, a sign of confusion and intrigue. He had never encountered a human with such control over their own behavior, especially when they were caught in a situation that should have terrified them. Humans were known, in rumor, for boldness, but this was beyond their expectations. They decided to escort her to a holding area while they consulted with the station council. The walk through the corridors was tense, but Ilara kept her composure. She observed the station quietly, noting exits, security systems, and the movements of the aliens. Every detail was important. Every observation could serve her mission later. When they arrived at the holding area, it was stark and clinical, a room designed for observation rather than comfort. The walls were lined with panels that could detect biological signatures, measure heart rates, and track thought patterns. A few guards remained with her, while others went to relay the discovery to the council. Alone in the observation room, Ilara allowed herself a small exhale. This was the moment she had trained for, the point where she had to demonstrate not only the strength of her people, but also their ingenuity. Humans were underestimated, often considered primitive or weak. Here, she would begin to change that perception. Minutes passed. The aliens returned, this time with a member of the council. He was taller than the guards, his posture rigid, his presence commanding attention. His eyes were sharp, and his expression was unreadable. "You carry something forbidden," he said. "A uniform of your kind, known to us only in stories. Why do you possess it?" "I carry it because it is needed," Ilara replied. "It represents more than just a uniform. It represents my people's readiness, our courage, and our willingness to engage with new civilizations." The council member's eyes narrowed. "Many humans are reckless," he said. "We have heard rumors, but no one expected one of your kind to reach this station alone, and carrying this—" He paused, scanning the uniform again. "It is bold, even dangerous." Ilara inclined her head slightly. "Boldness is part of what defines us. We are not weak. We are not predictable. We adapt, we learn, and we endure. That is why I am here." For a long moment, silence filled the room. The aliens were not accustomed to such directness. Most species they dealt with relied on hierarchy, fear, or manipulation. Humans, however, relied on courage, intellect, and creativity. That was something the aliens could not easily measure, not with their sensors, not with their calculations. The council member leaned forward slightly. "Your presence here may have consequences," he said. "We do not yet understand your intentions fully." "My intentions are simple," Ilara said. "I am here to observe, to learn, and to offer a chance for cooperation. Humans do not always follow the expected path, but we respect life, and we respect those who are willing to engage in dialogue." The guard who had first discovered the uniform glanced at her, then at the council member. "She is different," he said softly, though the words were clear enough for Ilara to hear. "Different, yes," the council member agreed. "And that is both alarming and intriguing." "Very well. You will remain under observation. Your behavior here will determine how we proceed. Any act of aggression and your fate will be sealed. Any act of cooperation may open doors for your kind." Ilara nodded. "I understand. I will not disappoint you." As the aliens left the room, she allowed herself a moment of reflection. The first step of her mission was complete. She had arrived, she had been noticed, and she had not faltered. Now came the harder part, proving to them that humans were more than what they expected, that they could be allies, thinkers, and problem solvers in ways no one had predicted. Outside her observation room, the station continued its constant hum of activity. She could hear the movements of guards, the chatter of alien merchants, the distant roar of engines as ships docked and departed. Each sound was a reminder of the life and activity beyond her room, the life she was learning to navigate carefully. Ilara knew that humans were often underestimated, even in their own galaxy. Here, among these highly advanced aliens, that underestimation would be tested. She carried the proof of her people's ingenuity in that uniform, folded neatly in her bag. It was more than cloth. It was a symbol of potential, a challenge to every assumption these aliens had ever made about humanity. And she was ready. Ilara sat calmly in the observation room, her hands folded neatly on her lap. The light panels on the walls hummed softly, scanning her body, recording her every movement, every heartbeat, and perhaps even trying to read her thoughts. She had expected this, of course. Every step of her mission had been planned to anticipate the alien response. Still, the reality of being under such precise observation was something she had to experience fully to understand. After a few minutes, the door opened. The tall council member entered, flanked by 2 guards. He was an imposing figure, his long limbs moving with an elegance that seemed almost unnatural. His eyes, large and glinting, fixed on her with a combination of curiosity and authority. "You have remained calm," he said, his voice low but carrying the weight of command. Most humans would not withstand such scrutiny. Most would panic or attempt to hide. "You do not. Why is that?" Ilara looked up and met his gaze steadily. "I was trained," she said simply. "Humans who take on special missions are trained to remain calm, to think clearly under pressure. Panic solves nothing." The council member's antennae twitched, a subtle sign of thought or perhaps confusion. He studied her for a long moment as though trying to detect some hidden fear or weakness. Finding none, he motioned for the guards to step back slightly. "You are far from your home, in the territory of a species that has never encountered your kind directly," he continued, "and yet, you carry with you a symbol of human authority, a uniform. Tell me, what is your purpose?" Ilara adjusted her posture, maintaining an air of calm authority. "I am here to observe and to represent my people. Humans are explorers, thinkers, and protectors. We seek to understand and engage, not to conquer or harm. This uniform is a symbol of our readiness to operate where needed and of our ability to respond to challenges." The council member's eyes narrowed slightly. "Many humans are said to be reckless," he said. "Stories reach us of your species taking risks that others would avoid, often without thought of consequence. Why should we believe you are different?" Ilara leaned forward slightly. "Because I have not come recklessly. Every step has been calculated, every action considered. Humans are unpredictable to some, yes, but that does not mean we act without reason. We adapt, we observe, and we respond with intelligence and courage. That is why I am here, to show you that humans are more than the rumors suggest." The council member seemed to study her words, weighing their meaning. For a long moment, no one spoke. The hum of the observation room filled the silence, a quiet reminder that every gesture, every blink, was being recorded. "You are clever," he said finally. "But cleverness alone is not enough. To understand a species, one must see their true nature in action. Words are simple, actions are revealing." Ilara's lips curved slightly, though she kept her expression composed. "Then I will demonstrate," she said. The council member's antennae twitched again, a subtle signal of interest. "Very well. You will remain here under observation. At intervals, you will be presented with scenarios. Each scenario will test your reasoning, your adaptability, and your decision-making. Succeed, and you may gain the trust of this station. Fail, and—" He let the words hang, leaving the implication clear. Ilara met his gaze without hesitation. "I understand." The council member turned to the guards. "Prepare the first scenario," he commanded. They nodded and left, their long limbs moving with mechanical precision. Ilara watched them go, her mind already calculating. She knew these scenarios would not be simple tests of physical skill. The aliens were clever, methodical, and highly analytical. They would test her perception, her judgment, and her ability to respond to unpredictable circumstances. Minutes later, the first scenario began. A holographic projection lit up the room, displaying a miniature version of the station. Red markers indicated sections of the station under threat, simulated fires, energy leaks, and trapped personnel. The challenge was clear. Navigate the station, identify the problems, and resolve them without causing further harm. Ilara studied the projection carefully. She noted the patterns of movement, the locations of potential hazards, and the most efficient paths to reach each area. She was not merely reacting, she was anticipating, planning, and preparing multiple steps ahead. "Begin!" the council member's voice intoned. Ilara moved swiftly, guided by the projection and her knowledge of human problem-solving. She prioritized the most urgent threats first, deploying resources and directing virtual personnel with precision. Fires were contained, leaks sealed, and trapped figures safely guided to secure areas. At each step, she demonstrated a combination of critical thinking, decisiveness, and calm under pressure. The simulation was designed to be challenging, unpredictable, and even dangerous. Some scenarios within it were traps, meant to mislead and confuse, but Ilara recognized the patterns. She remained flexible, adapting her strategies as new information appeared. The council members watched silently, their large eyes fixed on her every move. They had not anticipated such efficiency, such clarity of thought from a single human. The rumors of reckless humans were contradicted by her actions. She was deliberate, precise, and effective, exactly the qualities they had underestimated in her species. As the simulation reached its conclusion, all markers returned to normal. The station was safe, the personnel accounted for, and the emergencies resolved. Ilara stepped back, breathing evenly, her expression unchanged. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the council member spoke. "You are exceptional," he said carefully. "Your species' reputation is perhaps misleading. You demonstrate foresight, courage, and the ability to act decisively under conditions of uncertainty. These are qualities we value." Ilara inclined her head slightly. "Humans are often underestimated," she said. "But we adapt, we learn, we respond. That is why we are capable of achieving what others may consider impossible." The council member's eyes softened, though his expression remained controlled. "Your performance is impressive," he said. "It suggests that humans may be more than a threat. Perhaps you could be an ally, or at least a participant in cooperation. But observation alone is not enough. You must prove yourself in reality, beyond simulations and controlled scenarios." Ilara nodded. She had anticipated this. "I am prepared," she said. "Whatever you require." The council member leaned forward slightly. "Your next test will be more interactive. You will be placed in a scenario within the station itself. Your actions will have real consequences. Success will demonstrate your value. Failure will confirm the worst assumptions about your kind." Ilara felt a thrill of anticipation. This was the moment where humans, often underestimated, could truly shine. She had trained for unpredictability, for adapting to alien environments, and for demonstrating her species' ingenuity without aggression. She was ready. The next scenario began almost immediately. An alert sounded throughout the observation room, indicating a breach in one of the station's sectors. Guards and personnel were trapped in a section of the station, with power fluctuations threatening the structural integrity. The holographic interface displayed the situation in real time. Ilara assessed the situation. She could see the most critical threats first: a potential energy leak that could cause a cascade failure, a blocked passage trapping personnel, and a malfunctioning security drone patrolling the area. Each required a different solution. Each demanded quick thinking and adaptability. She acted decisively. Using the controls at her disposal, she rerouted power to stabilize the most dangerous sections. She issued instructions to the station personnel, guiding them through safe paths and improvising solutions where necessary. When the security drone threatened to interfere, she quickly reprogrammed it to assist in evacuation rather than obstruct it. The council members observed closely, their expressions a mixture of astonishment and admiration. Ilara's decisions were precise, her actions deliberate, and her creativity evident. She did not merely follow protocol, she innovated, applying logic and improvisation in ways that the station's designers themselves might not have anticipated. By the time the scenario concluded, all trapped personnel were safe, the station's systems stabilized, and the threats neutralized. Ilara stood quietly, as if this were all routine. The council member spoke again. "You have exceeded our expectations," he said. "It is clear that humans possess qualities that are rare in the galaxy: courage, intelligence, and adaptability. You have demonstrated the potential for cooperation, for innovation, and for problem-solving that many species lack." Ilara inclined her head slightly. "That is my purpose," she said, "to show that humans can contribute, to help, and to demonstrate the value of our ingenuity." The council member studied her, his large eyes reflecting a mixture of caution and respect. "You have done well," he said finally. "But do not misunderstand. Observation will continue. You must maintain this level of skill and integrity. Only then will we consider your presence as beneficial rather than a threat." Ilara smiled faintly, though subtly, so as not to appear arrogant. She had passed the first stage. She had demonstrated that humans were more than rumors and myths suggested. They were capable, resourceful, and courageous, even when confronted with species far more technologically advanced. As the council member and guards departed, she allowed herself a small exhale. She had begun to earn their respect, but there was still much work to be done. The station was vast, the aliens cautious, and the galaxy itself full of unknown challenges. Yet she felt confident. Humans were often underestimated, even in their own systems. Here, among these highly advanced aliens, her mission was beginning to succeed. She would continue to demonstrate the qualities that defined her people, qualities that could change the way the galaxy viewed humanity forever. Ilara sat back and closed her eyes for a moment, letting the hum of the station fill her senses. She was far from home, in a place of strangers, and yet she felt entirely in control. The human spirit, she knew, was not defined by technology or strength alone. It was defined by resilience, intelligence, and courage. And she carried all of that with her, folded neatly in her mind and in the bag she kept close. The next phase of her mission was about to begin. The real test would be outside simulations, in the living, breathing station itself. And Ilara was ready to show that humans, even one small girl among giants, could change expectations, challenge assumptions, and inspire respect. The station's corridors were unusually quiet when Ilara stepped out of the observation room. The usual hum of engines and distant chatter of aliens seemed muted, almost as if the entire station was holding its breath. She felt a ripple of anticipation. The simulations had ended. And now it was time for the real test. A challenge with consequences that could not be undone with a reset. She moved carefully, observing the aliens around her. The guards gave her a wary glance but did not interfere. The council member had made it clear that this phase would be different. This was not a simulation. Every choice she made could affect lives, and every decision would be watched closely. As she entered the main corridor, an alarm sounded, a low, resonant vibration that echoed through the station. Red lights flashed along the walls, signaling an emergency. Ilara paused for only a moment, allowing her mind to analyze the situation. Multiple readings appeared on the portable interface she had been given: a power failure in Sector 7, structural stress in Sector 12, and several stranded maintenance crews. The council member's voice echoed in her mind through the communication device. "This is your test, human. Respond appropriately. The station is your environment. Protect it and its inhabitants. Failure is not an option." Ilara's fingers flew over the interface, bringing up maps, environmental controls, and communication channels. She prioritized the most critical problems first: the power failure. If the power was not stabilized quickly, it could cause cascading failures throughout the station. She rerouted auxiliary power lines to the affected area, stabilizing the energy flow temporarily. The lights in Sector 7 flickered back to life, though she knew this was only a short-term solution. Next, she addressed the structural stress in Sector 12. The sensors indicated that a support beam was weakening, threatening to collapse and trap anyone inside. Ilara quickly calculated the load distribution and initiated an automated stabilization protocol. The walls shivered as the systems compensated, preventing immediate danger. Meanwhile, her interface showed the stranded crews. They were trapped behind sealed doors, their communication attempts weak and intermittent. Ilara quickly accessed the door's control panels, overriding the emergency locks. She directed the crews along safe evacuation routes, carefully timing her instructions to avoid conflicts with other hazards. The council members observed from a distance, their expressions unreadable but their attention keen. The tall guard who had first searched her bag whispered to a colleague, "She moves with certainty. She thinks faster than any human we have studied before." The council member's antenna twitched. "Yes," he replied softly. "Her species' intelligence and adaptability are remarkable. This is beyond what we anticipated." Ilara, aware of being watched, remained focused on the task at hand. She had learned that humans could achieve more through clear thinking and creativity than through brute strength. This station, with its alien technology and complex systems, was a perfect stage to demonstrate that principle. Suddenly, an unexpected complication arose. A maintenance drone, malfunctioning due to the power fluctuations, had started a small fire near one of the evacuated corridors. Smoke filled the area and sensors indicated rising temperatures. Ilara immediately adjusted her interface, deploying the station's emergency suppression system. Jets of inert gas hissed as they extinguished the flames, and the smoke cleared. The stranded crews reached safety, and the alarms in that sector began to fade. Ilara allowed herself a brief exhale, but she did not relax completely. The station was vast, and emergencies could occur anywhere. She knew this was only the beginning. As she moved to the next sector, she noticed a group of aliens working frantically to stabilize a failing reactor. The energy readings were dangerously high, and a misstep could cause a catastrophic chain reaction. Ilara quickly accessed the reactor controls remotely. She analyzed the output, recalculated the cooling protocols, and guided the aliens step by step, ensuring the reactor stabilized safely. One of the aliens glanced at her, surprise written clearly across their face. "You understand our systems?" they asked. Ilara nodded. "I have studied your station systems extensively. Humans are quick learners, especially when it comes to understanding new technologies. We adapt and apply logic where others may see chaos." The aliens stared at her for a moment, then returned to their work, following her instructions precisely. The council member, observing remotely, allowed himself a small nod of approval. But the real challenge was yet to come. Sensors detected an anomaly in the docking bay. A small ship had broken loose from its moorings and was drifting dangerously close to the station's energy field. If it collided, It could cause significant damage, potentially endangering the lives of everyone on board. Ilara quickly assessed the situation. The ship's thrusters were partially functional, but the pilot inside was struggling to maintain control. She calculated the trajectory and communicated instructions to the pilot, guiding them through the necessary maneuvers to stabilize the vessel. The pilot, an alien she had never seen before, followed her guidance with precision. Slowly, the ship moved into a secure docking position. Ilara monitored every second, making small adjustments to compensate for minor errors. When the ship finally docked safely, she allowed herself another brief exhale. The council members remained silent, but their interest was evident. They had expected chaos, failure, perhaps panic, but what they witnessed was control, ingenuity, and a level of calm focus that surpassed their calculations. Ilara moved back into the main corridor, where she noticed several small fires had broken out due to electrical surges. She accessed the emergency systems and contained the fires, coordinating with alien personnel to prevent further damage. Each step required careful analysis, split-second decision-making, and the ability to anticipate outcomes before they occurred. As the situation stabilized, a senior council member appeared before her, observing her closely. "You act with precision," they said. "Your species' reputation for recklessness is clearly misleading. You have demonstrated not only intelligence but also courage, adaptability, and the ability to coordinate with others under pressure." Ilara inclined her head slightly. "Humans have always adapted to challenges," she said. "We learn quickly, we think strategically, and we protect those around us when necessary. That is what makes us capable in situations like this." The council member studied her for a moment, then spoke to the others. "We have underestimated humans. This individual shows qualities that many of our species lack: resourcefulness, ingenuity, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. Perhaps it is time we reconsider our assumptions." Ilara felt a quiet satisfaction. She had demonstrated what humans could achieve, even in a station designed for beings far more advanced than herself. She had turned the test into proof. Humans were capable, adaptable, and intelligent. Yet she knew her mission was far from over. The station's council would likely continue to observe her, testing her further, perhaps even challenging her in ways she could not anticipate. But she was ready. Every step she had taken, every skill she had learned, had prepared her for this. Humans were not merely survivors, they were innovators, problem solvers, and creators. As the council members retreated, the tall guard who had first discovered the uniform approached her. His expression was one of cautious respect. "You have exceeded our expectations," he said. "We assumed humans were reckless, unpredictable, perhaps even weak. You have proven us wrong." Ilara smiled faintly. "I hope this changes your perception of my species," she said. "Humans are often underestimated, but we are capable of much more than others realize." The guard inclined his head. "Indeed. Your actions today may influence the way we interact with humans in the future. You have shown us a new possibility." Ilara nodded. She knew the significance of her actions. The test had been more than just a measure of skill. It had been a statement. Humans were not to be underestimated. Even a single individual could demonstrate the ingenuity, courage, and intelligence of an entire species. As she walked back toward the observation area, she allowed herself a moment to reflect. The station had been chaotic, the emergencies unpredictable, yet she had managed to navigate each challenge successfully. Every action had reinforced the truth she carried with her. Humans were capable, adaptable, and remarkable in ways that even the most advanced species could not fully anticipate. The council members would continue to observe, undoubtedly, and further challenges would come. But for now, she had made an impression. She had demonstrated that humans could not be underestimated, that their ingenuity and courage were formidable. and that even a single individual could inspire respect and reconsideration. Ilara returned to her quarters, allowing herself a brief moment of rest. She had passed the first real test, and the station had seen firsthand what humans were capable of. Yet she knew there was more to come. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown challenges, and the Council would continue to test her abilities. But she was ready. Humans were never content with mere survival. They thrived in adversity. They adapted, learned, and overcame, and she, carrying the spirit and training of her people, would continue to prove that humans were capable of extraordinary feats, even in a universe that underestimated them. The station continued to hum with life, unaware of the full extent of what it had witnessed. But Ilara knew that the seeds of respect had been planted. The aliens would not soon forget the human girl who had entered their station with only a small backpack and emerged demonstrating the strength, courage, and intelligence of her entire species, and she was only beginning. Ilara stepped into the council chamber, her posture calm and confident. The room was vast, circular, and filled with holographic displays showing the station's operations, security grids, and various alien activities. The council members were already present, seated in a semicircle, their large eyes fixed on her. The tall guard who had first discovered her bag stood near the entrance, watching silently. "You have proven yourself in simulations and real crises," the council member began. "Your skills, intelligence, and adaptability are remarkable, yet we still do not understand your true purpose." "You have acted decisively, but what do humans seek in our territory? Why have you come so far from your home?" Ilara took a slow breath. She had expected this moment. This was why she had carried the uniform, why she had trained, why every decision, every action had been calculated. It was time to reveal the true message of humanity. "My people," she began, her voice steady, "are explorers, protectors, and learners. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek to dominate. We have observed countless worlds and civilizations, and we have learned that understanding and cooperation create far more strength than conflict ever could. I am here to extend that understanding to you." The council members exchanged glances. The tall one, who had been skeptical at first, inclined his head slightly. "Words are simple," he said. "You have demonstrated skill and intelligence, yes, but intent must be proven. How can we trust that your species will not act recklessly or aggressively?" Ilara nodded. "I understand your concern. That is why I have shown you what humans can achieve without aggression. We solve problems, we protect lives, and we act with intelligence, even in unexpected circumstances. The crises you observed were a demonstration, not of force, but of what humans bring to challenges. We are capable of cooperation, innovation, and courage beyond what many species expect." One council member's antennae twitched. "And this is all one human can do?" they asked. "Can your species act as we have witnessed here? Or is this individual an exception?" Ilara smiled faintly. "This individual represents what humans are capable of. Many of us share the same traits: curiosity, intelligence, adaptability, and courage. We may act differently from other species, and our methods may seem unpredictable, but we are capable of working together, achieving solutions, and creating stability in the galaxy." The council members leaned back, considering her words. The station had witnessed her abilities firsthand. Her calm decisiveness, her problem-solving in the face of emergencies, and her innovation had challenged every assumption they held about humans. Now her words gave meaning to her actions. A senior council member rose. "You suggest that humans could be partners rather than threats?" they asked, their voice carrying both caution and curiosity. "Yes," Ilara replied. "We seek understanding, communication, and cooperation. Conflict only weakens all involved." Intelligence, courage, and adaptability. These are the qualities we offer, not domination or violence. The chamber remained quiet for a long moment. Then the council member spoke again. It is rare for a species to demonstrate what we have seen today. You have acted decisively, creatively, and without unnecessary harm. These qualities are unusual in the galaxy. Ilara inclined her head slightly. We have learned that strength is not only measured in power or technology. It is measured in intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to protect and support others. That is what humans bring to the galaxy. The tall guard who had first searched her bag stepped forward. We have underestimated humans, he admitted quietly. We assumed recklessness. We assumed unpredictability would lead to failure. But your actions have proven otherwise. Perhaps we have misjudged your species entirely. Ilara's lips curved in a small, confident smile. Humans are often underestimated, she said. But when given the chance, we demonstrate our value, not through aggression, but through intelligence, courage, and ingenuity. The council member who had initially been the most skeptical leaned forward. And you are one individual, they said. Yet your presence alone challenges our assumptions. How can we know the rest of humanity will act as you have? Ilara reached into her bag and carefully unfolded the human uniform, holding it in her hands. The holographic lights reflected softly on the insignia. This is a symbol, she explained, not of domination, but of readiness, of our ability to act responsibly, decisively, and creatively. Humans are capable of far more than others believe, and we can work with you to maintain stability, understanding, and progress across the galaxy. The council members observed the uniform, their expressions a mixture of awe and contemplation. It was not merely cloth, it represented an entire species' potential. The stories they had heard of humans were now challenged by reality. One individual had entered their station with a small bag and had demonstrated qualities that few could match. The senior council member finally spoke. You have shown skill, courage, and intelligence. You have demonstrated the ability to solve complex problems under pressure, and you have offered a vision of cooperation rather than conflict. For this, we will reconsider our stance toward your species. Ilara felt a surge of satisfaction. She had completed the most important phase of her mission, not merely surviving the station or demonstrating skill, but altering perceptions, planting the seed of respect for humanity. Your species' unpredictability, the council member continued, is no longer seen solely as a risk. It is also a potential strength. We will observe further, yes, but we recognize now that humans are capable of remarkable achievements when guided by intelligence and courage. Ilara nodded. I am grateful for the opportunity. Humans are eager to learn, to cooperate, and to contribute to stability and progress. We do not seek conflict. We seek understanding. The tall guard who had been skeptical earlier stepped closer. You have changed our perception, he admitted. Your actions are proof that humans can be more than the rumors suggest. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated your species for too long. Ilara allowed herself a faint smile. Perhaps. But humans are nothing if not persistent, intelligent, and willing to rise to challenges. That is why I am here, to show that even one individual can demonstrate the qualities of an entire species. The council members exchanged glances. The room was heavy with thought, contemplation, and perhaps even a newfound respect. For years, humans had been considered unpredictable, reckless, and unreliable. Yet here was proof that they were capable of problem-solving, courage, and ingenuity on a level that rivaled any advanced species in the galaxy. You have completed the test, the senior council member said finally. Not only have you demonstrated skill and intelligence, but you have also proven intent. You have shown that humans are capable of cooperation, creativity, and courage. We will take this into consideration as we plan future interactions with your species." Ilara inclined her head. "That is all I ask. Humans wish to build understanding, not conflict. We hope that our actions can serve as an example of what is possible when intelligence, courage, and creativity guide behavior." The council members remained silent for a moment longer, studying her carefully. Then one spoke. "Your presence here has altered our understanding. It is rare for one individual to have such an impact. You have made it clear that humans are a species worth consideration, perhaps even respect." Ilara nodded. "Respect is earned through action, not fear. Humans act with intelligence and courage, and we adapt to challenges, learn from them, and protect life whenever possible. That is how we define ourselves." The council member paused, as if weighing the truth in her words. "We will continue to observe your species, but we now have reason to believe that humans may offer more than chaos and unpredictability. Perhaps there is potential for cooperation, partnership, and mutual understanding." Ilara folded the uniform carefully and placed it back into her bag. "That is all I ask," she said softly, "for humans to be seen for what we truly are." A quiet energy filled the chamber, as if the council members themselves were reconsidering the galaxy through new eyes. They had witnessed skill, intelligence, courage, and calm decisiveness, qualities that humans often carried but were seldom recognized for, and they had seen it in one small human girl who had arrived alone, with only a backpack and a mission. The tall guard who had been her first skeptic gave a slight nod. "You have changed our perception. Perhaps humanity will be seen differently in the future thanks to you." Ilara allowed herself a quiet smile. She had come far, faced challenges, demonstrated human ingenuity and courage, and now had planted the seed of respect for her species. The council members had seen firsthand that humans were capable of extraordinary accomplishments, even in environments designed for beings far more advanced. She stood in the center of the chamber, observing the holographic displays, the council members, and the bustling life of the station beyond. Humans were often underestimated, even feared, for their unpredictability. Yet here was proof that unpredictability did not equal weakness. Humans could innovate, solve complex problems, and inspire respect through intelligence, courage, and careful action. Her mission was far from over. The station would continue to observe her, and the galaxy would continue to challenge humanity in ways they could not yet foresee. But she had achieved something monumental. She had proven that humans could act with skill, courage, and intelligence, earning recognition and respect where others expected only chaos. Ilara's journey was just beginning, but she had shown the first steps. Humans were capable of far more than the galaxy had realized, and even a single individual could demonstrate the power, ingenuity, and courage of an entire species. As she left the chamber, the council members watched quietly, their expressions a mix of contemplation and admiration. The small human girl had arrived alone, carrying a bag and a uniform, and had left an impression that would echo through their station, and perhaps the galaxy, for years to come. Ilara moved through the corridors, feeling a sense of quiet accomplishment. She had done more than survive, more than demonstrate skill. She had shown the potential of her species. Humans were not merely inhabitants of a small planet. They were explorers, thinkers, and problem-solvers, capable of earning trust and respect even among beings far more technologically advanced. And she knew that this was only the beginning.